How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another SBT Season 4 match in the A-League. We actually have Eagle Gene versus Jaro here. The first match of the week 2, and it looks like it's going to be a rather good one. Let's see what Eagle brought here is his Mega Heracross, his Ariados, his Mudsdale, Ninetales, Alolan form, Zapdos, and Porygon Z, while Jar brought his Volcanion, Tapu Koko, Mamoswine, Uxie, Skarmory, and Alolan Raichu. So it looks like Jaro didn't bring his Mega, but I think he can live without it. Um, in terms of leads here, obviously the Ariados looks like he can freely set up webs. Obviously, he has to be worried about the fact that Skarmory can defog him away. Even Coco and Volcanion can do that, but we'll see what they opt to lead here. So it looks like Eagle, it looks like they both actually opt to lead very offensively, and lead with it will either Raichu being a pivot mon, but Eagle obviously looks like he might want to just start breaking down some walls early on in the match. Now this Raichu could be Sash if Jaro brought it in like this, or it could be Scarf obviously. Either way, we're not going to know unless unless we see a Volt Switch, perhaps we can call it that, or we could just see specs come out from this Raichu as well. Um, I don't know if Eagle wants to set up an agility slash a nasty plot right here, but if he does, it could become a problem for Jaro because obviously Porygon Z is always a problem to switch into, and the Skarmory looks like it's really the only thing. It's just the problem with the Skarmory is that it's not very specially defensive. Now we could see a Z Focus Blast come out from this Raichu, but the coverage doesn't look like it matches up with Eagle's team. I don't think Z Focus Blast is the optimal bring on Raichu per se, but he could just bring the Aloe Raichium Z as well and just paralyze this Porygon. Eagle might just want to bring in his Muzdale right here if he doesn't want to risk the Porygon. Porygon could be Scarf itself if that's the case, because Scarf Porygon actually does do some work to Jaro's team, so it does look like he opts to just go out into the Muzdale, trying to be more safe in that sense. And that Raichu looks very offensive with the Life Orb, really not doing too much damage. I guess this Muzdale is either very especially defensive or maybe a Sulfest, but if he's a Sulfest, he's not going to have Rocks right here. And I think Rocks is very nice against Jaro's squad that he brought, especially against the Volcanion. So once again, Jaro doesn't really have the best way to take on this Mudsdale. I mean, obviously Raichu can have the Grass Knot, but we already saw how much that Psychic did. So a Grass Knot might be doing a lot more. It might be doing closer to 50%. But he probably doesn't want to take an Earthquake right here. Otherwise, Jaro can predict the rocks coming out right here and still go for the Grass Knot. He might not need this Raichu in the late game because, to be fair, it does outspeed and one-shot the Heracross most likely. So it's still nice to have, and it's still nice to put on pressure on certain things. But if Eagle gets up rocks right here, it could be an issue. And he doesn't want rocks up for fear of Volcanion eventually coming in. So we could see this Skarmory come in and perhaps just trying to defog slash toxic and wear down this Mudsdale. It could be an issue. Eagle just probably wants to just get up the rocks to force the defog, and that way. Okay, so Eagle actually opts to double instead, maybe predicting the Grass Knot or obviously predicting the Skarmory coming in, which is a very nice power play on Eagle's part there. He now pressures the Skarmory to the point where it's either have to just set up some rocks and call it a day, or just swap out into the Mamoswine. But obviously, Eagle could U-turn, he could Toxic. The most optimal and safest play, I think, is probably to either go for a sub or just go for a U-turn. But Eagle is not applying too much pressure, obviously, with the Zapdos being in here. He kind of has to stay in because in case Skarmory decides to suicide and set up rocks or spikes or something, it'll break the Focus Sash on Ariados if he has it, if it's not something like a Z move or whatever. I don't think attacking what's in front of you is the most optimal play right here, but he could if he thinks that he has a safe switch in Mamoswine. Mamoswine is obviously a big threat and doesn't really have a switch in for it, so we do see a Toxic there, so very nice prediction on Eagle's part. Again, attacking what was in front of him wasn't what Eagle was thinking. He was kind of thinking of the turns ahead. And it made sense just to go for Toxic because obviously staying in with that Skarmory right there, probably not the best for Jaro. Because the thing is, if he sets up rocks, Eagle is sitting in here with his Defogger anyways. So, um, oh, I just realized that this Uxie is named Gene. So welcome Gene to the field. He did get toxic, um, and now we'll see what this Uxie wants to end up doing. If Skarmory and Uxie were both brought from Jaro's end there, who knows if this Uxie is actually more offensive then? An interesting Uxie set could always be brought because if it's not something like rocks, we could see something like a Calm Mind set, or so it is actually just a rock set. Maybe that Skarmory is a spike setter in that case, then maybe a phaser as well. In comes the Porygon Z. Very nice play on Eagles actually, on his part actually, because he gets a free attack off. And it's going to do a lot of damage to something, and that's exactly what Eagle wants to do with this Porygon, is to just break down Jaro's walls, so that perhaps later on, if he gets up webs, Heracross can come in. I do see the plan with Eagle setting up Veil and then webs and then trying to win with Heracross. He's very determined to win with that Heracross, and I condemn him for that because. Well, I try to sympathize with him there because I have a pincer and I want to win with that thing a lot. But we do see the agility coming out, and it could mean that he's just trying to win uh, right now with this Porygon instead of trying to win with his sweepers later on, which is an interesting play to be honest. It doesn't look like Jaro really has any priority on his team, um, and this could be interesting. Nothing really wants to take a hit besides that Skarmory. Skarmory does have its Sturdy right now. Um, and I don't think the Tapu Koko really wants to come in right here. I don't really see a play from Jaro right now. He's probably thinking himself. He obviously knows his sets. Mamoswine could, like, he has the Ice Shard on Mamoswine obviously, but it's not going to be doing enough damage there. I don't think this Porygon actually one-shots Mamo, unless obviously he's Focus Sash. And this Porygon is Z move. I think it is definitely most likely Z move, if I have to guess. Going for a U-turn from Uxie was interesting. We could have seen a Thunder Wave, but instead I guess Jaro wanted to scout and he didn't expect this Porygon to set up like this. Now the correct play is obviously going to Skarmory. Skarmory is pressured very heavily in this match. Eagles making the offensive plays, bringing in Zapdos on Skarmory, bringing in his Wall Breaker and Porygon. Now we could be seeing a Thunderbolt right here. Would make the most sense. Uxie comes back in. It's just taking damage at this point. I'm not sure if Jaro predicted the swap out, but or maybe he was trying to burn a Z move. I think Jaro really has to he can't get through this without having to sacrifice a lot of HP on something. And he's looking like he kind of wants to catch Eagle on a misprediction. But really attacking what's in front of him makes the most sense. I do think a Z move knocks out this Uxie at this point. I don't think a straight up try attack will kill him because he's not Life Orb. Although I could be wrong. And he's something like Modest, and this Uxie doesn't have that much bulk. I would think this Uxie is more physically defensive to take on to take on the Heracross. But who knows? We've seen rocks U-turn, so obviously a more utility based, maybe defensive set. Let's see what comes out here. I do think he has to give up one of his Pokemon right here. If he wants to double back into Skarmory and try to burn a Z move, thing is, if he does that, it could be hard for Jaro to live another hit and phase him out. Now, while Jaro's thinking about his play there, Eagle could also just be thinking, you know what, if I have Sub or Nasty Plot, I'm going to go for it right here. Sorry guys, 1 second. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Looks like I missed a turn there. Let me go back. So it does look like Jaro made the Skarmory play like I thought he would. He could burn a Z move, and we can see how much that Tri-Attack did. And obviously a Thunderbolt following up would take out the Skarmory in that case. Jaro's in a very predicament there. He actually kind of lost too much HP on his Skarmory and his Uxie. Skarmory could have at least have done something if he had to sturdy up, but unfortunately he had to kind of give it up. So Uxie is able to take a hit there, and he does get up a Trick Room, so very nice play, actually. I wonder why he didn't go for that initially. Maybe he was thinking that this PZ was going to go for a Z move and KO him. But now that this Uxie actually outspeeds the PZ, we could see maybe just a straight up attack here. So we do see a momentum. Very nice play on Jaro's end there. That effectively stops this Porygon from doing any more damage. The thing is that he's already broken down both of Jaro's walls, and that's exactly what Eagle wanted with this Porygon, is to just break down his walls, and barely took any damage as well, so very unfortunate for Jaro, but he does have the Trick Room up. The Trick Room is interesting because unless the Volcanion is no speed, Mudsdale could also be no speed. I think, yeah, I was gonna say, I think Volcanion does have to come in here. If it specs, it will be doing a lot of damage. I think it actually KOs Porygon if it specs. Wow, what a turn of pace here. I think Jaro actually gets a kill now. He doesn't even have to predict, he can just go for Steam Eruption. If this is what I think it is. If this is specs. If not, then he still gets a kill, but it'll be a bit different in the setting. Zapdos is still at full health. He'll take rocks coming in, but obviously, I'm not sure if he can take it on. Kind of has to burn some Trick Room turns here. Eagle is not getting off without taking some damage right now. He could even have to sacrifice his Ariados if he wants to, but Ariados is still very nice. They set up webs. I don't know if Eagle's going to have any opportunity to defog the rocks away at this point. tricky situation he finds himself in. I think Eagle does have to let one of his mons go. And Mudsdale does not have a switch in anymore. So this could actually end up being a reverse in Eagle's favor. He can just let Porygon go down right here if he wants to. Porygon doesn't really... and the thing is that he's probably the Z-move user, obviously, but if he's able to live a hit from Volcanion... So he does go for the sub. I do think... okay, so we do see the Z-move. Very nice play on Jaro's part. He is the subset, so it doesn't look like... it doesn't look like he's specs at all, and he probably won't be doing as much damage. And he actually did waste a turn of Trick Room. The thing is, I think he needs the Trick Room turns to be over, because the Mudsdale is a very big threat with Trick Room up. So probably a nice play on his end there. I don't know if a -2 by attack breaks the sub. It most likely does, if I had to guess. It does a lot. We get the burn. There's a T-Bolt. Porygon goes down there. So I think Mudsdale has to come in now, and Eagle will get off a lot of damage on something. Either that or yeah, I don't really see any other play. Heracross might be able to take a hit, but I really think Mudsdale comes in here. Okay, so the Zapdos actually wants to come in. Maybe he will calc it, and he has a lot more Spadef in that case to kind of take on this hit, because he knows that this Volcanion isn't boosted by any kind of hit, any kind of item. We could be seeing just a straight up Steam Eruption Fire Blast here. If Jaro lets this Mudsdale, or sorry, this Volcanion go down, I'm not sure how he deals properly with that Mudsdale. I think in what Jaro's thinking right now is that he wishes that this Volcanion was specs right now. Specs Volcanion would have gotten probably 2 kills. He can obviously save this Volcanion if he wants to. I don't know if it's min speed, but Eagle still has his strategies going. You know, even if Zapdos drops to a crit right here, Eagle can easily revenge later on. And he has the Heracross. Okay, so we do see the Steam Eruption. We see a Defog instead. Okay. So, I'm guessing he's just debugging and then boosting up, maybe? He could easily just go for Thunderbolt if he wants to. Could have wanted to get rid of hazards to make room for Ariados to come in. Because that thing is most likely Focus Sash. I don't see a reason to defog otherwise, unless obviously he just didn't want Ninetales to take 25% coming in. Again, Jaro can't save this. Goes to Mamo, and we see a Roost, so it makes a lot of sense. Just Roost up the damage there. Jaro was being pressured up because of the fact that he didn't outspeed the Zapdos, so he probably one-shotted him, but he probably has Volt Switch if I had to guess. And this Mamoswine is now pressuring the Zapdos, but to be fair, Heracross is very bulky and probably takes on Mamoswine. So if he's able to get -1 in right here, not sure if Eagle wants to pivot right here, or just wants to let this Zapdos go down. We're also not sure if this Mamoswine is Scarf. Do you see a Toxic? A Lumberry, very nice play there. And we actually see the Yachi Berry. So both of these two having some berries, sitting down and eating some berries. I think obviously an Ice Shard takes out Zapdos at this range though. Now, Mamo doesn't even really have to go for a Ice Shard if he wants to. He knows that the Zapdos can't do anything for Toxic. I wonder what that Lumberry was for, you know, besides getting Toxic. If he was really afraid of just being Toxic. Could have been for a burn. Or maybe like a Scald burn or something. I do believe Eagle has Toxic X on his roster, so Jaro probably specifically made this Mamoswine to take on Toxic X. So we do see the Ice Shard, very obvious play on Jaro's part. Maybe Eagle thought that was too obvious. But Zapdos going down now easily invites the Heracross. No doubt in my mind Heracross coming in here, and it'll do a lot of damage with something. Maybe a Bullet Seed is his best play, to be fair. If I had to guess, either that or just a close combat. I could see the Heracross trying to set those Swords Dance. Ninetales can come in as well instead of Veil. If Eagle also wants to set up webs, because he knows that the Tapu Koko is going to come in later and set up electric terrain for Raichu. And Raichu will be scary once if Mudsdale is broken down a little bit more. If I had to guess, the Raichu is carrying the Grass Knot, and the Tapu Koko is Z-Move. I guess Eagle's deciding right here if webs are the best play right now. And I could see it happen. So it looks like Eagle actually just thinks Heracross is the best answer right here. And you know, it makes a lot of sense. Heracross does a lot of damage to everything on Jaro's squad, remaining squad. The close combat is going to be doing a ton of damage to anything coming in. The only problem is, unless this Heracross has a lot of special defense, I'm not sure how he plans to take on the Raichu, the Volcanion, and the Tapu Koko. He most likely outspeed. I'm not sure exactly if he outspeed the Volcanion. You know, the Trick Room there kind of hinted at the fact that maybe Volcanion was min speed, but I don't know if Jaro can even swap out right here. The question really is Eagle not trying to preserve this Heracross for the late game? How does he plan on winning? I think Ninetales is scarfed. We do see an Icicle Crash miss, unfortunately, and obviously close combat's going to take him out there. That Icicle Crash probably would have done close to 30-40% if I had to guess. Heracross is very bulky, but very unfortunate to miss that. You know, it would have been helpful for Jaro to scout out this Heracross's set a little bit. And losing Mamoswine without even, you know, getting any damage on this Heracross. Very unfortunate. But now, I mean, either Coco comes in or Raichu, and this Heracross is at -1 special defense, so I don't think Eagle really has a switch. And Mudstone seemed very specially defensive. If not, he was Assault Vest. So if he has Assault Vest Mudstone in the back, maybe that's why Eagle's doing this. You know, just putting on the pressure with Heracross. It doesn't matter if, you know, the other 3 Mons on Jaro's squad can actually take on this Heracross. If that's the case, well, again, I don't know about the Volcanion really taking on the Heracross, but if that's the case, maybe that's why Eagle's doing it, but I would have thought that he would want to set up webs or maybe Veil first. See what Jaro opts to do here. He might be calcing, but obviously Coco and Raichu, they'll be doing a lot of damage to this Heracross. I think Coco has to be Grass Z, in my opinion. If not Grass Z, then maybe just, you know, Z Dazzling Gleam. The Ariados, I'm not sure what Eagle is planning to do with that thing. But anyway, guys, this match has been quite offensive and tricky to get around. Obviously, Jaro kind of upset about that miss there. Made a lot of sense, but I think Eagle was fine with the damage he was about to take. He was kind of accepting the fact that he was going to take an Icicle Crash no matter what. Jaro just has to decide, is it worth sending in Coco right here? I don't know if Jaro's Coco has any coverage for the Mudsdale, now that I think about it. It would make a lot of sense. I don't see Jaro not bringing something like Grass Knot on either Raichu or Coco. Here comes the Volcanion, surprisingly enough. He could be max speed. He could calced, maybe he thinks that a Rock Blast isn't going to KO this. He could also be thinking that maybe this Heracross is adamant. he is adamant. And Volcanion definitely outspeeds. Depends, because he might think that either way, whatever Jaro swapped in, Eagle was going to swap out this Heracross being at -1 defense and special defense. But this kind of gives Eagle some definitely a powerful bring in for Jaro there, actually, because it doesn't allow the Mudsdale to come in. I think that's exactly what Jaro wanted. So it doesn't look like the Heracross was adamant, and Jaro kind of just his bluff went to naught there. I'm guessing Eagle was planning on sacking Heracross no matter what. Just very unfortunate that his bluffs aren't working out for him. He was either not jolly, or Jaro just didn't have a lot of speed on Volcanion. Or he was modest. But I guess he had to kind of bank on Eagle being jolly. So in comes Raichu. I guess it wants to either set up right here or just go straight for the attack. I don't think Jaro can afford to set up right here. If he wants to go for a sub, actually, he could probably get away with that. But not when this Heracross has Pin Missile. In comes the Mudsdale, which makes a lot of sense. Once again, I'm not sure if this Mudsdale is Assault Vest or especially defensive in some kind of way, because it's really taking these life orb hits from the Raichu. Now, Raichu isn't the strongest, but I would expect this Mudsdale to be taking a lot more than that. So I don't think a Grass Knot KOs at this range. Jaro is in a real bind right now. Because an Earthquake is incoming right now. And he might, I guess Jaro's trying to win his Coco. Which makes a lot of sense, you know, this Coco outspeeds everything. Well then, I wasn't expecting the physical Brave Bird to come out from there, which makes a lot of sense, I guess, for the Heracross, but Dazzling Gleam also kind of hit for super effective damage. You know, very nice prep on Jaro's part, but it didn't allow him to beat this Mudsdale in the late game. So that's going to be the game, guys. Eagle takes the win 4-0. You know, missing that Iso Crash might have hurt Jaro's cause a little bit, but in the end, you know, Heracross stayed at full health. So that's going to be the game, guys. And a good game to both.